All right, welcome everybody. It's another edition of Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV. Seen it over right around 2 million households in and around the New Orleans area, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Morgan City, parts of Livingston Parish, and more. We have great sponsors like TJ Ribs and attorney Tony Clayton. Lots of stuff to talk about today. We got LSU baseball starting it off. We've also got softball coming up. We've got Southern University baseball. They're getting ready for the SWAC tournament, and what my prediction will be for the Saints coming up in the 2024 season. Last week, the schedule was released, and I'm going to give you my predictions of what the Saints will probably do this year. Jonathan looked at me when I did the predictions for LSU. Jonathan, you thought I was absolutely crazy. You were going to have me committed. Several doctors knocked on my door to have me put in one of those nice tight jackets and what have you when I said the Tigers would be 12-0. Guess what Vegas had them at this year? 11-1. One game they were not favored at, +1 at Texas A&M. And I think they probably won't be undefeated. I think they might, it's a good chance to be 10-2, 11-1. We will update that beginning of the season. I'll give you my predictions then. But everything, what Vegas is thinking is what I'm thinking, that the LSU Tigers, all of their hard games are at home in Tiger Stadium. Their easy games are on the road, every one of them. Texas A&M is going to be one. To be honest with you, we all know that LSU never plays good against Arkansas at Arkansas. And I don't care who's the coach, who's the team, what have you. They always seem to struggle there. Florida could be a trap game. A&M could be a trap game. Those three games are the hardest games they've got on the road this year. I think they'll beat South Carolina with no problem. I think they'll be looking for a new coach next year, South Carolina. But anyway, that's for another show. We'll talk more about that coming up as we get closer and closer to the season. LSU baseball in the postseason. Congratulations. For the last series of the year, they sweep the Ole Miss Rebels. They sweep Ole Miss. Unbelievable. So LSU will be the 11th seed in the SEC tournament coming up this week. Boy, Tommy White had a massive weekend. He hit 3 home runs, including a grand slam home run yesterday to get the Tigers, or actually Saturday, to propel the Tigers to a massive win in that game. That was when they were up 8-0. So it was unbelievable. So they'll play 6th-seeded Georgia and their old pitching coach, Wes Johnson. Wes Johnson, the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, their old pitching coach from last year, they won the national championship, has got Georgia looking good in this very first season, and they will play them on this week in the SEC tournament. LSU's Jay Johnson was asked this week, does he think LSU will be in the NCAA tournament? He said, yeah, I think we are. There's no question. There's no way we won't be in the NCAA tournament. We've won 4 of the last 5 series, and we've done what we need to do to get in that position. I don't think it's as easy as Jay thinks, but that's Jay positioning himself going into the tournament. So what do the Tigers have to do to make the NCAA tournament? I think LSU right now is on the bubble. Jonathan, you think they're in?
I do. I agree with Coach. I think their resume speaks for itself. Playing in the SEC, the toughest division by far in college baseball. Mm-hmm. The top. You look across the top 10, it's usually 10 teams in the SEC, and right. That's not hyperbole. It's just how college baseball has been for the last almost decade. You play very tough teams each week in and week out. You turn it on at the end. You sweep Ole Miss, who just beat A&M, who you just beat the series before. They were number 1 at the time. I think they did enough at the very end. You get some healthy arms. LSU's cooking at the right time. Tommy White absolutely on fire.
Yeah.
El Fuego this past weekend. Great to see him. If this was his last time at the box, great to see Tommy White go out like that because he put on a show.
Yeah, no question. And just as you're talking about that, that's one of the home runs he hit right there we're seeing. Now, before the season started, the NCAA Selection Committee said they're not going to use RPI this year. They're going to use what they call KPI. KPI measures strength of component, game's location, the score, opponent's winning percentage, opponent's strength of schedule, the game result, scoring margin, and pace of the game. Right now, LSU is 21st in that KPI ranking. That would pretty much mean that they're probably in. Georgia is 7th. So if LSU does beat the Georgia Bulldogs, that even significantly helps their chances on going to the NCAA tournament. Jonathan, they're 9 teams ahead of LSU in that KPI standings. 9. Now, the most SEC has ever produced in the NCAA tournament is 10. 11 would be a record-breaking if they made 11 teams in the SEC. How many teams are the committee going to go? How many teams can the committee choose? Could it be 11?
Yep.
I think so.
Sure
Possibility.
Could be. Yep, sure could be. A lot of talented baseball players in the SEC. I mean, you look at Vanderbilt, perennially a powerhouse. They were scrapping for their postseason lives this past weekend. Got a big win, but will it be enough for them? And look, LSU, obviously, they move the needle. Wherever they're going to play, they're going to draw fans. They bring a good crowd. People watch on TV. So outside of the very talented baseball players, of course, moving the needle, who you've played, the score of the game, great job explaining the KPI, because I think a lot of people out there have no idea what it even means.
And they just announced it this year.
Right. I think they take 11 from the SEC, and truly, it might be more next year, Chris. Oklahoma joins, Texas joins. You just got to expand the field even more, because this brand of baseball is exquisite in the SEC.
So why can't college football use the KPI? Why can't we use the KPI in college football? They're using it in basketball. Looks like they're going to use it in basketball next year. They went a little bit this year. They looked at the KPI and went by more RPI. But KPI is really a great system to look at to get the best teams in and the opponents they play and where they play and what have you, the results. Why can't we use the KPI in college football?
I think more in college football than in college baseball, you are looking at what program is going to bring the most eyes to the game, what program is going to bring the most fans to the hotel, to the city, to spend money at the different venues. And no, it's undefeated teams in college football. You get hot at the right time. You lose in game 1, you still have an opportunity to make the college playoff. You lose in week 11, your chances drastically diminish. So
big time.
Look, it is a great system, or a better system, an improved system, because you're bringing in more factors than just wins and losses. It's got to be about who you get to play. If it was just wins and losses, then UNO would be making the tournament, because they play independent schedule. They don't play anybody.
Right.
But that's a great question, Chris. A lot of money's involved would be my answer. A whole lot of money's involved in these matchups.
Instead of football, you got some damn selection committee who's never played the game in their life.
Right.
Is making decisions on football. But going back to baseball, it looks like we'll have Louisiana Tech should be in. They're going to have to win their tournament. Probably Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, will probably be in the tournament as well. Louisiana Tech last week had a better RPI rating than LSU did. So Louisiana Tech, LSU, and I think that the Raging Cajuns, LSU should be. Those 3 teams for sure should be in the NCAA tournament. Now, if the Tigers beat Georgia, they play Kentucky the next round. And Kentucky's the 3rd-ranked team in this KPI. 3rd. And the Tigers are getting good at the right moment. The ERA this weekend, Jonathan, for the bullpen, 2.03.
Pretty good.
That is the best they performed all season long, 2.03 all weekend long. And they won 4 of the last 5 series. Their overall record's 36-20. They're 13-17 in the SEC. I think if they lose, it's going to be close. Do you think if they lose, they're out, or do you think they're automatically in?
I think they're in. I think
no matter what they do against Georgia.
I think Georgia, as long as they don't get blown out, which I can't see happening. Georgia has relied way too much on the long ball, which in the ballpark in Hoover with the wind and the bats these days, they're not going to be able to just hit the ball at the ballpark at will. Charlie Condon, different story. Best hitter in college baseball. He's going to get his, but I believe LSU can do enough with Gage jump on the mound to kind of limit Georgia's runs. LSU can score enough, especially with the way Tommy White's swinging the bat with others. Still looking for Travinsky and Jared Jones to come around a little bit. But Stephen Milam, Ashton Larson, these guys have been proven that they're going to do their job when their number's called. So,
right.
Yeah, it's going to be a good matchup. Of course, Wes Johnson, great pitching coach for LSU, goes to Georgia. It was written in the stars. This is how it would work out for LSU to move their postseason lives. I do think they're in regardless of the outcome, but I take them beating Georgia. I really do. I think they'd get in regardless, but I have beaten Georgia.
So it's the first round is a single elimination. Then the rounds 2 through whatever go into the double elimination. I hate that deal. Next year, everybody makes the tournament, and it's a single elimination tournament with 16 teams next season. Now my question is, and I pretty much think, I know what will happen with this. What if they win the SEC? What if they go, and they're the team in the SEC that's one of the most tournament titles. LSU has. So what if they win the SEC tournament outright by beating the big teams? Could they possibly host an NCAA regional first round?
I'm not going to say never. You
never say
never. Yeah, never say never. For one, if LSU does run the gauntlet and win the tournament, that's outstanding for Coach. An outstanding coaching job would have to get that done. I would never say never, but it would be not a shock, but a jolt to the system to see LSU host a regional after this season we just watched them try to put together. Not totally off the table, Chris, because we've seen crazier things, but I can't see it happening.
Yeah.
Not hosting.
I don't either, because I think they have a good team, and if they keep their core team, I think they're going to be players that transfer because they're not playing. Yep. I mean, remember Chris Blair told us at the beginning of the season that the problem was to get everybody to get some supper time.
Right.
Because they had so many good players on this team. I honestly think that if LSU can keep their core players, they're going to lose Tommy White. Even though he's a junior, he'll be a senior next year, he's gone. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. He'll be gone. And I hate that. I'd love for him to stay, but he'll be gone. I think LSU will have a very good team again next year. I think they will. And I think they're going to get into the NCAA tournament. I think right now they're on the bubble. The only way I think they get out of the NCAA tournament that quick is if they get blown away by Georgia.
Yeah.
10-run rule maybe. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but LSU, this is what it's so fun about playing college baseball this time of the year. It's getting later and later, obviously. Poor Chris Blair. He works all season long, and it used to be in the beginning of June. The first week of June was the College World Series. Now they've moved in almost, I mean, what is eventually going to get into July?
Right.
4th of July weekend or something? And so that's when he takes his time off and time with his family when LSU baseball is done for the year. And then he gets ready for the football season. But anyway, big things happening. LSU getting hot at the right time. Jay Johnson says they're in. Jonathan says they're in. I think they're right there on the bubble. And I think that'll be one of the most watched shows in the selection show next week when they have it'll be on Sunday. That'll be the selection show. Everybody's going to be watching like the NCAA tournament selection show.
And what an opportunity for Coach Nate Yeske, who has really caught a lot of heat for LSU fans, the pitching coach for LSU. Look, he's got the pedigree. He's the only active coach to go to the College World Series, 3 different programs. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. The guy knows how to get it done.
Yeah.
Inherited a lot of young arms that didn't know how to pitch, didn't know how to win yet in the SEC. If he can get that bullpen working like they were this past weekend, huge opportunity for him to silence some of those critics to beat the former pitching coach and Coach Wes Johnson for Georgia.
I love fans to death, and I'm a fan. I've got a little part of me that's a fan, obviously, no question. But the fans, easiest thing for them to do is to blame coaches when they don't know what goes behind the scenes. Les Miles in that 2011 season when they played the national championship of 2012, he only played Jordan Jefferson, and there's a reason why he only played Jordan Jefferson. The quarterback behind him didn't show up to class. He was suspended, but he didn't want to announce that all over TV. So it takes time. I mean, people don't understand what goes on behind the scenes, and the guy didn't fall off the coaching truck and forget how to coach. They know how to coach. That's why, when people like my uncle was killing me about Paul Maneri. Skip Bertman hired Paul Maneri. So you're saying that Skip Bertman is great, except for the fact that he hired Paul Maneri. Well, he didn't know what to say. He crawfished. No, I mean, Paul Maneri was a good coach, but you can see South Carolina is the last team to repeat as champions. College baseball is not what it was in the days with USC, Miami, and LSU. It's not those days anymore. And Texas. USC has the most national championships at 12. LSU is second at 7. Texas is third at 6. It's just not that way. You can't dominate this sport anymore. It's so evenly matched on every one where you have a Southern University that can beat an LSU. That can't happen in football. Can't. It's a different sport.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we're talking LSU softball. Hey, They're in the postseason too, and they were in postseason this past weekend. We'll talk about what their chances are as they go on to the Super Regionals for the first time in 3 seasons. We'll talk about them when we come back. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, Mr. Jonathan on the crew. You got Marty on here, and you got Alan here as well. And again, we'll be off next Monday for Memorial Day weekend, so you'll be able to, see a rerun show. But we want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day and safe Memorial Day weekend. I'll be on the Tickfall River, so I'll be making sure you're being safe. My boat driver better be safe because he's the designated driver while I get, the worm buckets. The worm buckets, baby. Yes, indeed. We'll be back in a moment talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right after this.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and start the party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers, right here. And thanks, everybody, for being here on the program. Again, seen in about 2 million households. The Lady Tigers of LSU heading to the Super Regional for the first time in 3 seasons since 2021. They beat Southern Illinois, which great defensive team. My goodness, this defensive team was big. They made some great plays this weekend, but LSU goes 3-0 this weekend and will travel to Stanford for the Super Regional. After the first walk given up by Kelly Lynch, you see right here, she retired 14 straight batters. The first hit didn't come until the top of the 5th, which was the final inning for them. She struck out so many players and got them to ground out, to pop up. She was unbelievable. LSU really, this weekend, had 3 unbelievable pitchers. They've got 2 for sure that are dominant, and she's one. The Lady Tigers hit 3 home runs in the game from Pleasance, Burgoyne, and Petty. And base hits galore. This is the way they played at the beginning of the season. They hit after hit after hit, home runs. Here's a big base hit right here that drew in another run for the Tigers. And the Lady Tigers at this point led by the score of 2-0. And LSU has won 5 out of the last 6 games, and that was a record of 43-15. Here's Pleasant's home run right there. If LSU can use this momentum going into Stanford, they would reach the Women's College World Series for the first time since 2017. Stanford did not blow anybody out except yesterday. They did beat Cal State Fullerton in the deciding game. That was their best game of the tournament. But they have not been blowing people away. Head coach Beth Torina said she noticed something different when the team arrived at Tiger Park yesterday, like they were on a mission. Since last year, exactly 1 year ago yesterday, they were swept by UL and the Ragin' Cajuns in the Super Regional. LSU started the season out by going 8-0 with Danica Coffey. You know that she hurt her leg and she was out for the season. After that, they went 16-0. In that 24-0 start, Taylor Pleasance was hitting .354 on the year, 4 home runs. Since then, she's only hit 6 more. She had her 10th home run yesterday. LSU's outscored their opponents in that frame when they went 24-0, 162 runs to 59. They shut out their first 5 opponents and had a total of 8 in that span. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up is because if LSU plays like they did yesterday, if they play like they did in that 24-0 span, the LSU Lady Tigers can beat anybody, like they beat the number 1 team, Texas. They're the number 1 seed in the tournament. There's them celebrating their big win, 9-0 yesterday. It was unbelievable. So they can be anybody, and that includes Oklahoma can beat anybody. So now they got to go to Stanford for a 3-game series with that best of 3, I should say. And I think Jonathan, LSU right now is playing great. Now, they didn't dominate in runs on Friday or Saturday, but yesterday they finally broke out of that, and it's because they had in their head what happened a year ago against the Raging Cajuns, and they were dominant and they wanted to hit and hit. When they play aggressive, when they're too passive at the plate, they don't do well. When they dominate, they are aggressive at the plate.
It goes back to what my daddy always used to tell me. Offense scores points, but defense wins games. And when LSU gets pitching performances like they had this past weekend, offense just seems to come around easier. It's just everybody's more relaxed. They go up there, just find their pitch. The 3 home runs were obviously a huge boost for LSU, but it started and ended with throwing strikes. Not much traffic on the bases for Southern Illinois, who I thought was a pretty good team. I thought Cal was going to come out and have to play LSU, but Southern Illinois, talented team. I'll say this for LSU. When they did go 24-0, the margin of victory in a lot of those games, 1 run, Chris. I mean, they know how to win tight ball games.
Right.
They explode on offense in this last game in their regional, which is awesome for LSU. It builds a lot of momentum, gets people really believing in themselves, but they know how to win close games. And if it comes down to the wire against Stanford, LSU is not going to flinch at all. They played in the hardest division in women's softball, and now here it is. It's time to poop or get off the pot, and they've been in this situation before in one-run ball games. Coach Batsarina always has loved her players. I mean, she has been a player's coach since the start at LSU. Yeah. You could tell how bad this team wants to win for Coach Batsarina, and it goes both ways. Yeah,
because she wants these seniors to be able to experience
absolutely
going to Oklahoma City. And here's the big thing. They're facing the number 1 pitcher in the country against Stanford. Yep. Oh, my goodness.
That 1-run ball game is going to be crucial when people can't get on base.
They better be ready. I promise you, they better be ready. The UL Raging Cajuns beat Baylor in Game 1 of the championship round yesterday, 13-0, but lost Game 2, 4-3. So the Raging Cajuns are done for the year in their Super Regional. How about Southeastern? Marty's always wearing their Southeastern gear here. He's not wearing their gear today because he's wearing black today, like I am. He's sad. Southeastern lost to Alabama the championship round. Their very first time they've been in the postseason ever, and they lost 12-2 yesterday. How about the Lady Lions?
Yep.
Wasn't that unbelievable to see that?
That's
great, what makes you feel so happy about college sports, right there.
Yep. I mean, you finally get your opportunity. You don't shy away from it. You get all the way to the championship game against Alabama, a team from the SEC. Not only were you excited to get there, Chris, but once they showed up to play in Tuscaloosa, and didn't shy away from it. We're in the ball game. 12-2 is a tough loss, especially when you think about the emotions. It's going to be your last game of your possible college career, so your career in total. So, tip of the hat to the Lady Lions. They'll be back. They will be back, Chris. They're building something out there in Hammond, Louisiana.
Right. And they gave LSU a run for their money when they played them this year.
Yep.
They gave LSU a run for their money.
Yep.
All right, when we come back, we're talking football again. The Saints got their 2024 schedule last week, I should say. We'll find out what they're going to do. We got that coming up right here. After we come back, we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right after this timeout right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger.
just had a great stat on baseball, high school baseball in the state of Louisiana. Tell everybody what that stat was.
Yeah, so Max Preps, they put out a top 25 across the nation for all baseball. The whole season it was going on. But state championships just finally wrapped up, and Louisiana has 3 teams in the top 25 according to Max Preps across the nation, including that number 1 spot, the Catholic High Bears. So great pedigree of baseball in Louisiana. You already know it's represented by the flagship program, but also by all the other universities that are going to make postseason runs right now.
Right.
Great brand of baseball in Louisiana.
Well, like we talked about off the air, too, that I don't know if a lot of people know this, but per capita, Louisiana has more pro players in football, basketball, and baseball than any other state. And in football, Georgia just passed Louisiana up as far as the most pro football players per capita. Louisiana led by a long time over California and Texas and all those big states. But that was pretty interesting. All right. Well, the Saints schedule was released last week, and we're going to take a look at the Saints schedule. So let's roll it, Jonathan. These are the Saints schedule predictions I've got for this year, 2024, coming up right here. Here we go. The first game against the Panthers, I think the Saints win. They go 1-0 on the season. Then they go to Dallas. I think they go 1-1. They'll lose that game. They come home to face the Eagles. I think they lose. They go 1-2. They go at Atlanta to face the Falcons. I think they lose that game to go 1-3. They play Kansas City on a Monday Night Football game. They'll go 1-4. They'll lose that game in Arrowhead Stadium. Then they play Tampa Bay at home in the Dome. They'll go 2-4. They'll win that game. They play Denver on a Thursday Night Football. Sean Payton coming back. They'll win that game and go 3-4. They'll go to Los Angeles Chargers, and they'll drop to 3-5. They'll lose. But they'll go on a win streak here. They'll beat Carolina at Carolina to go 4-5. Then they face the Falcons in the Superdome, and they'll beat the Dirty Birds to go 5-5. They'll play the Cleveland Browns at home. They'll go 6-5. With this, they'll play on November 17th. They have a bye week after that. Then they have the Rams coming in. They'll beat the Rams and go 7-5. They'll go to New York after that, and they'll beat the Giants and go 8-5. They'll beat the Commanders, Washington, that's right, and they'll go 9-5. But their win streak is going to be snapped at 6 games when they play at Green Bay on a Monday Night Football game in December, for God's sakes. Then they'll come home to face their final home game against the Raiders. They'll win that to go 10-6, and then they'll go to Tampa Bay to play against the Bucs. That date to be determined. They'll finish at 10-7 on the season, I believe. When we go back on the schedule and look at it, I think a couple of things stand out. First of all, the Saints have 3 primetime games. 2 Monday night games and a Thursday night game. The Dallas Cowboy game, usually we don't get that early. The last time we played Dallas, I remember this early. I don't know if you remember this. Troy Aikman and the 3-headed monsters, first game in the Superdome, and they got killed by the Saints. The Saints dominated them, and Dallas finished 1-15 that year. So we play them in the second game of the season. I think we'll sweep Carolina. I think we'll split with Tampa Bay and Atlanta. Other than that, I think everything will be good. At Kansas City on a Monday Night Football game, it's not going to be bad. That's October the 7th, but that has a potential, Jonathan, I think, to be a washout.
Yeah, Chris. The schedule certainly didn't shape up for the Saints to start out the gates. A team that historically has had trouble coming out the gates strong in a season that is crucial for Coach Dennis Allen to get off to a good start. So
I think they'll have a horrible start.
They better, for Dennis Allen's sake, they better not start 1-5.
Yeah,
and it's very possible. You hit the nail on the head. Going to Dallas is a very tough game, and then you got Philly, Atlanta, and then Kansas City. You might lose all 3 of those games right off the bat and go 1-4. Yep.
I think they'll come back and they'll beat Tampa. Then I think the Superdome will be rocking with Denver. So you think Sean Payton's going to get booed?
I think the entire Denver organization is getting booed, including Sean Payton. Yeah. And then sometime during the game, they'll put him up on the Jumbotron. He'll get to tip his cap to the crowd. But when they come on the field, there's no doubt in my mind Saints fans boo Sean Payton.
I think Saints fans will probably wrap Dennis Allen up and tell Sean to take him out of town to go back to Denver, do something, get out of here. And Mickey Loomis might come in with an extra pack. They'll go to Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Chargers will be a better team with Harbaugh as head coach this year. They're going to beat Carolina at Carolina. Carolina, by the way, is the only team, Jonathan, in the National Football League that does not have a primetime game.
Hey, for good reason, Chris. For good reason. Nobody wants to watch those guys.
So they'll come back home and they'll beat the Falcons in the Superdome. They play the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, nobody knows what kind of a season he's going to have. He could be another Tiger Woods. Because of the sex scandal, Deshaun Watson had a great career going on. But after that sex scandal, Tiger Woods was never the same, and now it looks like Deshaun Watson might be in the same boat. But Deshaun Watson, I watched him in that game when Houston came against the Saints, and he threw a 50-yard bomb on a frozen rope to go ahead. And Drew Brees, one timeout remaining. It was a season opener. One timeout remaining. Drew Brees had 58 seconds left, drove the team methodically down, and I was like, what are you doing? I was yelling from the stands. I was in the dome that day. I said, what are you doing? You're so stupid. Kicked the game-winning field goal.
Will Lutz kicked a career-long 57-yard.
Yep.
57-yarder to beat the Texans that night. Look, and you mentioned Deshaun Watson. Chris, he didn't just miss from that sex scandal. He sat out because of his contract the year before that. He didn't finish the last 12 games.
Right.
So this man was out of football for a solid 2 years. In his prime, the window for quarterbacks for their prime is only so long. I mean, the Drew Brees of the world, they don't come around very often.
No. Now, the Rams game might be – I mean, the Rams, we don't know what kind of a season they're going to have.
They better win that game, Chris. They better win that game.
Yeah, that's in the Dome. They go to New York, don't know what that's going to be. But how about this, Jonathan? 2 games in a row, we faced Tigers that just got drafted.
Yep.
The New York Giants with Neighbors.
Yep.
And Washington. Will Daniels be the starting quarterback? I think so.
Absolutely.
So Daniels will be coming in the Dome.
Yep.
Now, we'll face Neighbors in New York, but Daniels will be coming in the Dome like Burrow did, what was it, last year?
Yep.
So that's going to be incredible. And a Monday Night Football game against the Green Bay Packers on December 23rd. You couldn't even get Marty out of bed on December 23rd, much less play a football game at Lambeau Field on December 23rd.
Why did the Saints go back to Lambeau back-to-back seasons? I don't understand it.
Every year we always go to Green Bay or Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't
It's like they never come to New Orleans.
Right. No, I don't. And look,
every year.
I don't know if you remember last season. I think it was 17-0 was the score at halftime, and then Jordan Love put the team on his back and embarrassed the Saints secondary, and the Saints lost that game with their 17-point lead. Lot to prove. Like I said, Coach Dennis Allen cannot afford to get off to a slow start.
So the Raiders come in. I think Derek Carr will have a monster game against the Raiders.
Better.
And then they go to Tampa Bay, and it's a flex game. We don't know if it's going to be on a Sunday. It could be on a Saturday. It could be on a Monday night. So we don't know what that game is going to be. I got them going 10-7. I looked at the Picayune writer. I forgot his name, and I read his name is all the time.
Tim Duncan?
No, the other guy.
Jeff Duncan. No,
I can't
put me on the spot. I don't know.
Is it Rod?
Oh yeah, Rod Walker.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
So he had him going 9-8. I had him going to 10-7. He had him going 9-8. For the first time, the Saints will have 9 home games since they've done the 17-game schedule. 9 home games will be in the Superdome. So that's what I'm looking at the Saints doing. I think they'll be fine. They'll have their bye week on the 12th. I think it's the perfect time. I think they're going to get off to a slow start, and I think at the beginning, like I mentioned, after that Kansas City game, they're going to go on a 6-game winning streak, and that they're going to go over 500 at that point when they get finished with that deal. I think they'll lose their first game when they have to go to, Carolina? The Chargers.
Yeah.
I think when they get to the Chargers, I think they're going to lose that game. Then they'll go on a 6-game winning streak by beating Carolina, Cleveland, the Rams, the Giants, and the Commanders. Oh, by the way, too, did you see the head coach of the Commanders the other day had a Washington Redskins shirt on?
Well, it was an unlicensed T-shirt, so it was the Washington Commanders logo, but had the headdress feathers coming out of the W. Completely unlicensed. The team came out and said, "Look, we're not selling that merch." Coach Dan Quinn put it on himself to wear that. I don't know if you're aware of this, Chris, but on X or Twitter, whatever one you want to call it, there is someone who a long time ago, like right when the Commanders were thinking about the name change, went and verified himself to be the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
He still operates the handle as if it's the team. He has a bunch of followers. And look, I don't know if you want to get too deep into this to this rabbit hole, but there's been a lot of pushback to bring back the Redskins from Native Americans.
By Native Americans.
Which is crazy. Right. I mean, so kick you off your lane because you can go to this reservation. We'll give you some money with a casino. We're going to take your football team. Now you want it back. Well, we're doing it for your own good. You don't even need it. And say thank you at the end.
They had wokeism.
We're
what
doing it for
happened
your
was
good.
Dan Snyder got intimidated by his other owners and sponsors and said, we're pulling out if you don't change the name to Redskins. But the Redskins were like, look, I'm a Cajun. I'm from Ville Platte, Louisiana. I don't mind them raging Cajuns.
You don't have anger issues, Chris, that
No,
that
I'm
you
so
get triggered
stupid.
by when they see Raging Cajun?
Well, just like the Kansas City Chief field goal kicker is getting so much pushback.
Harrison Butker, and guess what? He is the number one jersey sale in the NFL over Mahomes.
Yeah.
You name it, Harrison Butker. And where is that silent majority, Chris, that you don't hear from?
No.
But obviously they're out there. You know, you don't want to really – look, the NFL has their own issues. So you select whether you want to support that organization or not. But when you choose to select a player for what he got up and spoke on a commencement speech at a graduation for a college – got to give him props. And look, you can agree or disagree, but you have to support his right to say and think what he felt.
Yeah.
We're not fascists in this country, Chris. We fought not to be.
No,
Harrison Butker.
Yeah, exactly. But it's unbelievable the NFL doesn't get over people that beat their girlfriends, that rape, or that do stuff like this or whatever.
Ray
They
Lewis.
don't come out and say nothing like that, but they're going to get on a guy that speaks his mind, and they're going to get on him. Look, we don't talk. I don't want to talk politics.
Right.
It's a Republican or Democrat, I'm an independent. But it's just, come on, man.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
It's only a freedom of speech if they believe if they believe what you say.
Right.
But if they don't believe what you say, it's not a freedom of speech. You don't have a right to say that.
Well, truly, you just can't. In the NFL, like you said, you can be a murderer, you could be a rapist, you could be a thief, you could drive 130 miles an hour on a speed limit while you're intoxicated, kill somebody with your car. All that is forgiven.
Right.
Ray Lewis can be a accused murderer and win Super Bowl MVP, and now he's a talking head. He's a motivational speaker. He's got churches and schools, and anything can be forgiven, Chris, unless you speak openly about traditional Christian values. And that's all Harrison Butker was trying to do. And that man is facing the wrath right now from the angry mob.
You know what I say to them? When it's my judgment day, I hope it's not their judgment day because I don't want to be anywhere near them.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, aren't you in the NFL? No. Say, Peter, I'm not. I'm not in the NFL because I don't want that trap door to be falling down on me. Okay, I want to be so away from them, it's not even funny. By the way, the Saints tied for 32nd in strength of schedule. 32nd. That's last place in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons again. So this is why I think they could be 10-7, 9-8. I think 9 wins gets them another situation like last year. I think the 9 wins will be almost a tie-breaking possibly. But I think if they get to 10 wins, I think 10 wins the NFC South, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think 10 was that magic number last year. I think on Tigers Roar, me and Buddy Sanji both put the over and under, both for LSU and the Saints at 8.5. Saints play a 17-game schedule. LSU only plays 12 game, obviously, but a lot's got to go right for the Saints to get that 10 wins, and conversely for LSU. Hoping you're not getting that 10th win just on a meaningless bowl game that's not played on New Year's Eve, but like you said, the schedule shapes up well for LSU. Saints do have some games prime time, but you got to get through that first 5 games, at least 500, or it's going to be some sweaty collars for the Who Dat Nation.
I think it's too difficult for them. Have you told Buddy Sanji what my prediction for LSU was?
Yeah? I did not.
So tell everybody when your show is.
Yeah.
Because I watched y'all shows last week as well. Tell everybody your show runs all throughout the week.
We're Tigers Roar, Jonathan Poche, Buddy Sanji, Wednesdays at 8 o'clock, also replays through the weekend. But you also go on the YouTube page, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Of course, we have all the Talking Sports with Chris Powers and Tigers Roars that archive all there for you viewing pleasure. While you're at the page, go ahead and click the like, the notification, and the subscribe button so you get notified every time we post something right there at the YouTube page. Once again, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting.
I'd love to see his reaction when you tell him I think they're going to go 12-0. I think they could be. I think realistically, I think 10-2 or 11-1 or 12-0. I think they don't win anything less than 10. I think they'll go at least 10 wins. I think that probably gets them into the playoffs. I do, but I'll change it. Right before the season starts, we'll have another prediction, and I'll be able to feel. Now, I've heard inside words that LSU defense already looks better. They're already positioning themselves better. They're looking better when it came to spring drills. I don't know. Hey, I've heard local media guys tell me, Chris, because I didn't get to go to any practices, Chris, and I won't mention his name. I love the guy to death. Chris, the running game is horrible, and they had a breakout year that year in the running game. So I don't go by local media by telling me what they, because I think talent evaluations are not in everybody's great repertoire. I think you know good talent evaluation. I think there's a few people out here that do good talent evaluation, but nobody predicted LSU to go undefeated in 2019. Nobody. I think they were 18th or 19th in the preseason polls. And if you watch them and the way they played, it showed. And when they beat Texas, I knew right there this is going to be a special season. I didn't know if they'd go undefeated, but I knew LSU would have a special season. I knew Joe Burrow. Everybody trashed Joe Burrow in the first year. But I said, Joe Burrow is not bad quarterback, guys. This guy is good. And it's just, that's what goes by talent evaluation. You got to watch it. You got to look at it. Just same thing with Tua Tagovailoa. I said that. I didn't think he was a talented quarterback. I think he got good receivers and he benefits from the team around him. So guess what? Last year he led the NFL in passing yards, Jonathan. But guess what?
Yeah.
In bad conditions, in bad conditions, his balls float like a wounded duck.
Yeah, he's also got the 3 speediest receivers in the NFL.
Yes.
They throw more motion screens than any other team in the NFL and do more play action than any other team in the NFL. Plus, their coach, Mike Daniels, is one of the best offensive innovators right now in the game. He changes his game plan each and every week. This guy's a mastermind of football. There's a reason you can look like that and also be the head coach of a football team.
Yeah.
Dude is sharp.
Makes Tom Landry turn over in his grave several times because Landry wore ties and everything. This guy wears sweatpants to every game.
Sweatpants that are pulled up past his ankle with shoes that still have the tag on because he likes the way his swag looks. Like he likes that drip. That's what he calls it, his drip.
Yeah.
You don't get to be that position, acting and looking like that young man does, without really having a great modern football. So he's getting the most out of his talent. They set up the receivers and the offense. Complete speed burners around Tua, so he just has to get that ball out on time, which is what Tua does good. Good anticipation.
Quick release.
Good anticipation, quick release, and that what makes that offense go.
But do you think he can win a champion? I don't think that guy can win. I don't think his players fear him enough to win a championship.
No, it's going to be tough, and especially if you got to go back. I mean, until Don Shula gives up the curse of the undefeated season, I don't know if there's going to be a Dolphins team that makes it back to the Super Bowl. But they number 1 seed the last 2 years, going into week 13, and then just absolutely the wheels fall off. So yeah, I agree. It's got to be some hard-nosed love down there in Miami.
That's exactly right. All right, coming up, we've got another team that's in postseason, the Southern University Jaguar baseball team. We'll talk about them as they get ready for SWAC tournament. When we come back, we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers. A couple of headlines coming up early on this Monday. Scheffel wins his first major in the PGA. Congratulations. Wasn't that awesome to see that? Even though I was going for DeChambeau to come back and win, what are your thoughts about that, Jonathan, with that big win?
Now, Chris, I'm a casual observer of the PGA. So I don't know if the scores from the tournament yesterday are typical. But I saw a stretch where there were guys, I think, from one who was, I think it was at minus 17 at the time. From 1 to 16 was separated by 3 strokes.
Yeah.
They had 20 golfers that had scores that were better than minus 12. It was unbelievable the caliber of golf I got to watch yesterday.
You tell it with the U.S. Open.
The U.S. Open. It was unbelievable.
That's when it's like 3 under or 2 under or 1 under wins the tournament.
And and somebody had asked me watching the Masters, what was the lowest scores? I had to Google what Tiger Woods' best round of the Masters was. I think it was minus 16.
Yeah.
Minus 19 was a score holding first place for almost half the course yesterday. It was unbelievable. They were playing some outstanding golf. Scotty Scheffler, though, what a weird story from Friday morning. A pedestrian hitting traffic, cops all over the scene. They arrest him trying to get in the gate. I don't know how much you know about Scotty Scheffler off the course, but a very decent human being that speaks about family values, his faith. So, of course, the story out the gate was had some connection to the pedestrian that was hit and killed. Of course, that was not the case. The police corroborated that explanation. But what a crazy, crazy start to your final round of the U.S. Open, to be detained by police while you're trying to get into the tournament.
And I don't blame the police because one of the officials told him, since he had a marked car, go around it. Right. And he did. And one of the guys jumped on the hood, and he carried him 10 yards, and that's why they arrested him. So I don't blame either party on that.
Right.
And I think it was resolved. I think it will be resolved. He won't have any charges against him. They'll all be dropped.
Right.
So I think that's going to be it. But it was a great weekend to watch it. Again, I was going for Bryson DeChambeau. That would have been his second major tournament, but he just couldn't do it. He got a 20 under par, but obviously Scheffler got the final birdie on that last one to go 21 under par.
I'll say something about Bryson DeChambeau. They had a fan that was recording with a cell phone. I said, no, I'm sorry, because there's no cell phones. Camera caught him walking around fans, and he tossed his ball to a little kid. Grown adult snatched the ball and hightailed it out of there. He stood there and called that man back. No. Right. That ball's for that young man. And sure enough, the little kid got the ball. So Bryson DeChambeau, a man of the people.
Yeah, and congratulated the winner after that, Scheffler. But I mean, to see him drive, oh my goodness!
It's unfair, Chris.
30 yards, 40 yards past everybody else.
Yeah, mere humans can't go for the green in one, but a bunch of guys, and they were basketball draining shots from the fairway with their chipper. Obviously, they make it look easy, Chris. I'm not a big golfer. I've played maybe 3 rounds in my entire life. None of them were sober. 0 of them were sober. Lost all my balls, didn't score under 100. I stopped counting after 100. So, look, I don't understand golf. I think it's relaxing to watch. These guys were incredible this past weekend, put on a show. Yeah,
from the way he hits, Bryson DeChambeau, you could build a super Walmart between the other golfer's ball.
Right.
That's how hard this guy, much further that guy hits past him. A legend has died. Mr. Raider. Jim Otto dies today or this weekend at the age of 86 years old. Sad to see that. He was Mr. Raider. Raiders had that big, bad aura around them. I mean, they just basically were the bad guys. They were like the Detroit Pistons, but for several years. It was sad to see him die. How about the Nuggets? They're going to be denied a repeat championship. They got beat by Minnesota. They lost the first 2 games of this series. They went to Minnesota, and they took a 3-2 lead. They had it. They lost Game 6, and then they lost Game 7 last night. Minnesota will play Dallas in the Western Conference Finals. A lot of people think that one of those teams will win the NBA championship. No one's really given anybody in the East a shot to win the title, but the Nuggets got beat yesterday. That kind of shocked me. I thought they had that game wrapped up and won.
I think the Timberwolves were specifically built to compete against the Nuggets. You look at the big men for the Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards. And if you don't know about this young man, he is going to be the face of the NBA here coming up real soon, especially if LeBron does ride away to the sunset after this season. Anthony Edwards can really do it all, can shoot the 3, can drive. He is the best in-game dunker in the NBA. Dude puts posters up all over the stadium. And Joker, unbelievable talent, Chris, and really just brings to mind like the expanse of the NBA. These talented MVP caliber players, not from the United States. You look at Joker or Luka or SGA from Oklahoma City. Those are 3 finalists. Neither one of those players born in the U.S. I mean, that's not a huge shock in this day and age because, I mean, American culture is so spread out throughout the world. But you have the basketball with the FIBA league, and it's brought to the Olympics. So it's a global game, Chris. I think it's good for the white guys to have some people, some big guys that can play for sure. But the Timberwolves, Minnesota, and I went to a game this past season at the Smoothie King Arena. and they played the Timberwolves, and I got to see, Karl Anthony Towns and the guy who spread all the COVID during the COVID year, Rudy Gobert. That team is built to win. They have a lot of size, and Anthony Edwards is going to be the face of the NBA here very shortly.
Yeah. Can you believe that? I mean, we have Milwaukee Bucks win one year. Last year was Denver, and this year could be Minnesota. Small market teams winning.
Right.
Not the Lakers. And the Lakers, and I knew this was going to happen. The inside word is LeBron, for his contract negotiations, are asking for two things. Number one, that he wants J.J. Redick as his head coach, and number two, to draft his son. And word is that if the Lakers don't draft his son, Bronny, he won't be drafted. USC had him at 6'4", but when he got to the combine, he's 6'1".
Barely, yeah, no, yes, barely. Well, look, the whole Bronny case, and here we are talking about it on your show. There's not a whole lot of people that get mentioned when they're going to be, a late 2-round pick or go undrafted in the lottery.
I think he'll go undrafted.
And then you put LeBron James into it, and look, people have said he's given his life to the game, and he's an ambassador, and look how much he does. If he gets this little bit of leeway, then so be it. To be able to force a team to draft your son is a level of nepotism, because they're not playing for pennies, Chris. They're not playing for bragging rights. They're playing for hundreds of millions of dollars. But you get to force a team to draft your son. I don't understand it.
That's why I hate NBA. Because I'm not saying that I hate all the NBA, because I pull for the Pelicans and what have you. But you're going to have a guy like LeBron James. Look, do what you're supposed to do and play the game. Don't be coach and general manager, because it hadn't worked. They won one NBA title, and that was during the COVID year in 2020.
Year, yeah. Bubble year.
That was an unbelievable – that's right. It was a bubble situation. So that's the only reason they won that. I mean, other than that, you cannot be the general manager and the coach. You don't know how to do that. So shut up and play the game. As LeBron James, same thing I say with Angel Reese, and I'm not disrespectful to Angel Reese. Angel Reese was crying because y'all disrespect me, y'all all hate mail and what have you. It's because of the way you acted in the media. That's the way you wanted. You want that bad girl persona. You got it. Now you have to face it. Same thing with LeBron James. Every single time there's something that happens politically, LeBron James wants to say what it is and go against that person and call them stupid and what have you. You know how many times he called President Trump? Look, it doesn't matter if you disagree with the president. Like I'm not a big fan of Biden right now because of Bidenomics. I don't know if you noticed this. The gas went up 20 cents this weekend alone. 20 cents. It was $2.99 on Friday, Saturday, and today it is $3.19. It went up 20 cents. I'm not a big fan of Bidenomics right now at all. But I'm not going to sit there and say I would slap him in the face, I would piss on his grave, or do this or that. I'm not going to do that. That's disrespectful to the presidency, the office of the presidency, and it's disrespectful to this country. That's why I don't do that. LeBron James, every time there's something big happens, he always wants to open his mouth when he has no college education, so shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't even know how to pick the right player in the NBA. So shut up is what I say. And I'd tell him right now if he walked in the door. I swear to God I would. Alan, you know I would. I know you would too. All right. That's right. Grab by the throat and throw him in the Tickfall River like I've done before. All right, the times have come out for LSU softball. They will play the last game on Friday. They will play on a Friday against Stanford at 8 p.m. That'll be on ESPNU. Okay? So, actually, is it 9 p.m.? It might be a 9 p.m. game. I can't see without my glasses. All right, so they're going to play that at that time. So it's going to be on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They'll play the last game again on Saturday, and they'll be the home team in that game, and then they'll play on Sunday. Best 2 out of 3, they'll play the last game probably on Sunday as well. Best out of 3 goes to the Super Regional in Oklahoma City for the Women's College Softball Championship, so that ought to be interesting. LSU had made the softball championship since 2017. 2017 is the last time they made it. All right, Southern Baseball is getting ready. They'll be in the SWAC tournament this week. They are the West number 4 seed. They will play against the East number 1 seed, Florida A&M University. It's going to be in Atlanta. They're playing at the home of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. That game will be at 6 p.m. on Wednesday on the SWAC Digital Network. Shame on the SWAC. People are tired of paying the $3 and $4 and all that stuff, or they got to pay $15.99 or $19.99 to get this. No, it should be on ESPN Plus at least. Even the radio network, they don't have me going to do the play-by-play, but shame on that. I know Southern fans will be all over trying to find out who wins that game. But anyway, they will play the East #1 seed FAMU at 6 p.m. on Wednesday on the SWAC Digital Network. If they win that game, they play on Thursday at the same time at 6 p.m. If they lose, they'll play at 12 noon on Wednesday. Now, for Southern University, I think they're 5-5 in the last 10 SWAC games. They've had a lot of canceled games, so they haven't played a lot of games in the last couple of weeks because of the rain. And I don't know if you know this, but their tarp got damaged over at Southern University at Lehigh Stadium, and so they have no tarp right now. So the reason they only played one game against Grambling when that big storm came on Friday night, or it's actually Thursday night it came. It started coming on Thursday and then Friday as well. Their infield was a lake, and so therefore they only did one game for this weekend, and they lost that game. I think this team is too inexperienced to make a deep run in the tournament. It's a double elimination tournament. The winner of the SWAC goes on to the NCAA tournament, so we'll see how that goes. The last time Southern went to the NCAA was 2021. They went back-to-back years with that. They came close in 2022. They lost to Alabama State in the championship game 6-5 in 14 innings. So this team knows what it is to be in the championship, but I don't think they're going to have enough to make a run this year. I think that this team is not far off the mark. And I think with more experience next season, they'll be a better baseball team with Coach Chris Crenshaw and this baseball team getting the better of that. So we hope that'll happen. All right, so Jonathan, getting ready for the big Memorial Day weekend. What are you going to do Memorial Day Monday?
Chris, honestly, if I won't be here, I'll probably be taking care of some kids. Who knows?
Yeah, you're probably taking care of the kids?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, probably find my way around a pool somewhere. It's going to be low-key for sure.
Marty, what do? You get on a bike and go motorcycling? That's it. Have you ever had a bug in your tooth?
A bee in my helmet.
A bee in your helmet? Wow. I had a friend that was riding a motorcycle and got hit by a deer, but kept it going. A deer. Can you believe, Alan, what are you going to do this weekend? Can we even say it, what you're going to do? No, we can't even say it. Can be subject to court appearances and what have you if we say. Unbelievable. All right, so that's going to do it for us. We hope that you have a great Memorial Day weekend. Next Monday, a week from today.
She don't like it.
You see that? I told you. Already. Now we just went from an NC-17 to an X rating because of you. All right, we hope that you have a great Memorial Day week, everybody. Be safe out there, whether you're on the water like I'm going to be, or you're riding a motorcycle, you're riding out about, be careful. Have yourself fun as the summer is now introduced. We finally got the summer going. Hopefully it won't be a drought like we had last year. Until then, I'm Chris Powers saying so long. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Catch you later.